Welcome to Davinci Resolve Tips and Tricks. In this episode, I'm going to show you my new split toning LUT pack and explain a little bit about the grading technique called split toning. So before we start, let me show you my settings, which are my usual ones, so you can follow along. You can press Shift 9 and it comes straight away. And if you don't like shortcuts, who doesn't? You can come here, bottom right, go to color management. I'm using color science, Davinci Wide RGB, color space, Davici Wide Gamut intermediate. On my output color space, straight to my calibrated Rec 709 Gamma 2.4 monitor. Because we're gonna be working with LUTs, in case you have this as trilinear, just change it to tetrahedral. A little update on this, like before Davinci 18, I believe you can only manage your colors by project. From Davinci 18 onwards, you can do it by timeline. So if I come here, this is split tone demonstration, timeline settings, and within here, you have this new tab, which is color. This is the color management for this specific timeline. So within a project, we can actually have different timelines in different color spaces. Cool. So now let's go back to our color page. I'm using my fixed node tree that you can see here. We have all these outputs. This is the version 2. This is my basic journey during my clip level grading and then timeline. If you want to try, it's only a $5. Just get it, buy me a coffee. If I see you on the street, I'll buy you a coffee. So yeah, let's leave that out of the way. And we are going to talk about split toning. And this is our section here where we're going to be talking, adding, looking, modifying. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks along the way. Yeah, so when I'm not using the Hansa, when I'm not making use of all those film emulations, bells and whistles, I most certainly use my LUT pack. And here we are. Oh, I have one enabled, which is Joking Zone. Is one of my favorite. Just showcase them quickly. Coda key, wands. So you can see, different flavors, different colors. Dorking is very modern. So that's cool. It's really cool. I like it. Wide. We have Richmond. Very pushed color. We have LB. Yeah, there are many cracking looks. Yeah, this is not as push. Let's leave this one. I kind of really like the scheme as well. But yeah, let's leave that on. So we're working on something that you could get, and the Hansa is a bit more expensive. You can get it as well with 10% discount. So yeah, this is just a scale ramp. And I'm gonna play, right? I'm gonna push some warmth into the highlights with my gain. The lift gamma gain, the primary controls are quite broad. If I push it very hard, everything from the highlights to the deeper shadows are becoming brushed with this color. So you need to be very subtle. And then, this is push and pull, right? And I'm doing this with the mouse so you can see it. But if, you can do it with your panel with balls at the same time. Just push and pull until you find a satisfactory scheme. And we can also apply some gamma to bring like a bridging third hue into the game, or help either the lift or the gamma to push one side, or the other. There are other ways of doing this, but to start with, this is the cleanest way because it's broader. Now, if we were to apply this to our image, how do you think it'll look? Yeah, no, you guessed it right. It will look like a turd. It will look too pushed. It's not too bad in this image. Still, I would just tweak a thing or two. But yeah, I went too far for the example, so you can see this clearly in the linear ramp. But if I come here and I gain it down to 0.25%, it's not too bad. Do it on and off, on and off, on and off. Let's see. Let's actually add a curve so the colors pop a bit more. And let's keep doing on and off. It's not bad, actually. Maybe 0.35, so we're a bit more obvious with it. There you go, a nice close-up. And we have some vibe going, right? It's adding a vibe. Let's try this one. So you can see here in the darkest areas how it's pushing those greenish blue. And yeah, we got something going on, right? But this is a very good starting point. And then I'll do the skin correction by clip level. And that being said, like the split toning can also be used or more often used to add consistency across scenes. We may use split toning consistently across multiple scenes to establish a cohesive visual style for a film. It is essential to know that the effectiveness of the split toning depends on the context of, what the filmmaker or you as a colorist artistic intent, and different combinations of colors can create different moods. And all of this brings me to the product I'm offering today. Ta-da! We are offering 40 split tones and tone modifiers on one utility LUT. 21 split tones and 19 tone modifiers, which I'll be showcasing to you very soon. So let's add a new parallel node here. So we're going to be showcasing all the split tones and tone modifiers here. Let's go Shift F. Let's bring the LUTs up. And I'm going to go through a bunch of them. We have 8 split tones and classical. These are fairly soft. They're nice. They're giving it a really nice vibe. It's not a very pushed look. Let me go up here so we can see. Yeah, you can see the clouds here. You can see the shadows, how they change. The shadows are getting colder and the white points are getting warmer. I'm gonna go quickly through a bunch of them. These are very light, the first 8. Then we come into the schemes. There's a few schemes here, 2 different teal and orange. The 4 seasons. These 4 seasons come built into my fixed node tree. Spring, winter, summer. And then we have some tone modifiers, blue dark, bluer. And I'm gonna show you how to even modifier further. Cool steel, it's quite cool. Cyan a bit lighter. This is not the right clip, but these cyans are quite David Fincher. Let me try to find this one. Let me clear it. Yeah, you can see what it's doing. Obviously, cyan. If you want to add some cyan tones, this is your LUT. But this helps me to the next thing. But let me show you something. So let's add another, and this will explain this utility Luma versus Sat curve. Cool. So on this node, I'm gonna select the curves, custom curves. I'm gonna come to Lum versus Sat. So I'm gonna basically clean the highlights and the shadows. So sometimes you want the split toning to bleed into your shadows and your highlights, and sometimes you want to clean them. So you create more of a ramp as well. So it starts with a bit of a cleaner white and then starts slowly ramping up into the color when it gets to the mid-tones, mid-shadows, and then starts cleaning up towards the shadows. So this is the way you do it. So select the white part of your image, reduce the saturation that is affecting the brightest part of the image, and with a nice white curve, and then we clean up the area. You can do the same with the shadows, but in this case, I like it how it looks. Before and after, we're just cleaning up those whites. Let me do before and after of the whole thing. Yeah, again, subtle, but we're adding that cyanotic look. I can select the darkest areas, and I can clean them up by reducing this saturation on this specific luminance. And that's what the Lum versus Sat does. So let's go back to my usual example. I don't know, sandia or sand. Some warm tones, warmer, just a warm tone. Very nice. And yeah, there are plenty more there for you to play with when you download them. And I just showed you a few. We have the orange and teal, and you can see quickly how this is starting to push there. This is a different scheme of teal and orange. And we have things like green and magenta, things that I'm starting to push in different sides. Of course, this is too pushed, is too much, especially with the extra curve. It's too much, but you can always come to the key output and just have this 2.5 just to add that slight bit of a vibe, on and off, on and off. And you can see the greens coming into the shadows as usual, like teal and orange. That means teal in the shadows, orange in the highlights. Same thing here with green and magenta, is greener in the shadows and more the more magenta in the highlights. Yeah, yellow and blue is a different one. So yellow in the shadows and blue in the highlights. So yeah, you can see that those pure whites are getting a bit colder. But yeah, I was going to show you, let's grab one of the typical green and let's crank it to full blast. It is, I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm in love with this image. It's cranked up, so you can always come here and dial back until you get something that you really like. Drop or double click on the utility Luma versus Sat and pay attention to the clouds, to the whites. Boom, they get cleaned up. Let me zoom out so you can see that it didn't disable the look. So I'm gonna go enable, disable. Let's check her hair, and you can see in here in the very highlights, you know, this is without the cleanup, and in the very highlights it's cleaned that up. But still, you know, the vibe, this is without, this is with clean, unclean. So the vibe is exactly the same. It's just cleaning top and end. And here in the shadows, let me zoom in. This on, and I put it off. See how they get slightly, it's not very strong, to be honest. But yeah, you start to show the teal in the shadows, you know, that sort of greenish look. So yeah, I mean, the way to do it and to push it further, let me come here so I can show you what this curve, the Luma versus Sat does. I'm going to select this point of the image and it's going to show me that lives here. I'm going to go a tiny bit even wider so it's more obvious to you. I'm going to drop this complete to 0. I'm going to keep getting this point to 0 and then start bringing this a bit, you know, just so we have a nice roll off. So you can see how they got cleaned up, right? So quite pushed into the highlights. You can see all the mid-tones here and the shadows are staying put. All the tiles here, all these little highlighted things are getting cleaned up. Maybe it's too much. I want to leave just a tiny bit of tungsten. I don't want them to be white again. So, you know, this is just finessing to your taste how much of the style it's into the highlights and the shadows. Yeah, it's not completely clean, as you can see here, but it's not as pushed either. So, you know, between these two, between the selected LUT and the modifier, we fine-tune, if you will, the split toning scheme. Yeah, so as I said before, some of these schemes are very pushed, like this one, and some others are very subtle. So choose whatever works for your shot, and then you have the option to clean them up utilizing the LUT that I provide, the utility LUT, or as I show you the technique here in the Luma versus Sat curve. The orange on the first one are quite pushed, on this one are less pushed, so it looks a bit more natural, right? So before and after. And speaking about push look, let me just show you something that it's very pushed. I have here in my gallery some reference stills of films that I like, and you know, and I used to mimic or get inspired, or whenever a client says, "Oh, why don't you make it look like Wes Anderson?" and then I make it Wes Anderson-y. No, but I wanted to show you just because it came to my mind. I said push look, and I thought straight away of a show that starts with W, and it's called The White Lotus, specifically the first series, all season, if you're American. Yeah, wow, you can instantly see, you know, you got different color scheme, different blah blah blah, and you get to White Lotus season 1 and say, wow, what is that? Seriously, what is that? Let me get the boat so you can see the scheme here. What? This is, I mean, I compare with my plain image here, that, and it's like, this is fairly well balanced, and this is what happened. Somebody pushed the, let me go full screen. But let me tell you something. If you were to stare at this image for the next 20 seconds, let's say 30 seconds, and then obviously this static image is the reference for me. But then you watch the show and the episodes are, I don't know, 40 minutes long. I think 5 minutes in, you get used to it. You get used to it. And then that's it. Then you're living in that world that you've been introduced. And that's it. It becomes real. It's completely pushed, but it becomes something that you believe and you're immersed in. And that's the power of filmmaking. That's the power of color grading. This as a still, I'm already getting used to it. I'm already liking it. Okay, so I was going to show you some of the tone modifiers as well. So let me grab a different clip. It's looking good. Let's add blue. Let's add blue dark. Wow. I mean, we went from this to blue dark. I like blue dark. It's giving it quite a vibe that I really like. Anyway, let's go to blue. So I got blue. Guess what? I got bluer. And I go, let's jump this. Let's come back later. And I got sand. And I got sandia. Again, let's go back to blue. As I was saying, this, and let's move the clips and make this as big as I can. Bigger. And let's cut this to 0.3, right? There we go. So let's push it. Let's push it. It's 0.5, just half the strength. I think it works really well if you're after something cold, some cold vibes. Let's go back full screen. Then cool is just a tile of coolness, and you can see off and on. Yeah, you can see her skin tone, how it goes a bit paler. And then cool steel, which I really like. It goes fairly monochromatic, but still retaining some of the warmth. But yeah, before and after. I quite dig the cyans. And then I have a cyan light, a lighter version of the cyan, as you can see here. These are quite David Finchery, quite they're cool. Then we have orange. This probably reminds you of Blade Runner. Yeah, so I mean blue dark, cooler on the cyans, oranges, warmth. I got different type of warmth here, very subtle, warmer, like a little bit more, and warmest, even a bit more. I showed this before. Which other ones? These. Let's reset. Let's play the blue dark. This. In this image, I mean, if you go for this vibe, right? As I said before, the cut this is smoother. This is a bit colder. Yeah, so the blue goes better. Even cyan or cyan light, just a touch of cyan that intensifies that mood. We have dawn, which is obviously a bit on the dark, but still golden hourish. And this again, dusk, which is too push. You can clean the highlight with the technique that I show you. Let's see if it quickly works with the utility. Let's go back and drop the utility. Perfect. Yeah. So without the utility, you can see the wall, right? Just pay attention to the wall, how it cleans it up nicely. Orange probably too push for this image, but it's a vibe if you're going for the Blade Runner inspired tones. Cool steel, a bit more monochromatic. See? Before and after. 0.5, so it's a bit more subtle. Before and after. In a nutshell, 40 different split tones and tone modifiers that you can use in conjunction with my LUT, in conjunction with the contrast curves. I'm giving contrast curves for free, plus the 5 that I provide in my fixed node tree, plus a bit of density, just a node that's ready for density. Again, a bit of grain, a bit of glow, roll of those highlights at the very top, and add a bit of halation. That in this case, I got it at 0.5, which is subtle, but you can see it coming in here on the edges. See, touch her face. Yeah, a little bit here. It's quite nice. I really like what it does. And yeah, I mean, it's quite. Oops. Well, you too as well. Lovely people. And you too. Beautiful people. But yeah, all this, this is quite a cinematic, that word. It's quite a filmic inspired. It's quite a nice image to look at. So yeah, I'm making all these tools for you to play to come up with images like this that you may hate, but I really like the look. With really nice grain, glow, highlight roll off for that compression. I love here the one of the split tones. More color, less color. I'm using everything that I'm providing for free and selling as well for for a small token. Christmas time, just get yourself a LUT pack or whatever you want and have fun, because this is about having fun. I hope you got a trick or two out of this tutorial, and would be really grateful if you go ahead and get one of my packs, and that allows me to reinvest that money in spending more time creating more tools for you. By the way, if I have time, please, if I have time, I don't want any other job next week, I'm gonna drop an amazing product for you. I'm not gonna any spoilers. Just tune in next week. It's gonna be hopefully blow your mind. So please stay tuned. I'll try to get this one more video hopefully before Christmas. And I'll try to get those reindeers running and get out another product so you can go and treat yourself for a very nice Christmas present. So thanks for staying till the end. Go subscribe, like, share, and if you see me around, I'll buy you a coffee. Bye.